Hey everybody, it's Jeff at Glider Labs. I'm going to show you a quick demo of the Run API that we just added to Command IO. So Command IO lets you run shell commands in the cloud, primarily using SSH, but now you can use HTTP and WebSockets. So we're going to make a command that shows what changed in a Git repository, and then we're going to expose that command over HTTP. The way we make commands on Command IO are with these kind of shell scripts. In fact, this is a shell script. The only difference is this top shebang line, which is specific to Command IO and tells it what kind of environment to set up for this command. So we're saying we want to use Alpine and we want to have these two packages installed. And otherwise, it's just a simple script that wraps Git and runs two commands. One, we're going to clone the repository based on this environment variable, doing kind of a shallow clone. And then we just run git log, providing it our argument. So we can say something like 4 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago. And then it will output the commits that have changed. So to make this into a command with this script, we just pipe this script into Command IO over SSH, which is our kind of primary interface for interacting with it. So we'll create a command called recent based on this script. And we've done it, and we need to set this variable real quick. So we kind of configure this particular command for a repository. So I'm going to use this repository, just one of my many repositories. So now we need to set this environment variable on recent repo. Cool. And now we can already just run this thing. We can say 4 weeks ago, because I think there's something within 4 weeks, and it does take a moment because it's cloning the repository. But then there we go. We get the diff. We can look back 6 weeks ago and see what's changed in that time. And the thing that I want to show you today is the Run API, which lets you turn these commands into little web services. The one thing that we have to do, though, is because we can't authenticate over HTTP using SSH keys like we normally do here, we create tokens. These are little access tokens. I'll make a new token. I'll keep it here in my environment. And I want to give this token access to the recent command, so I'll grant it access. And now we can use this command that we wrote in Bash as a web service, which is kind of neat. So we'll use our token as the user, and then this endpoint here over HTTPS alpha command run API, explicit owner, and recent. And the arguments are defined a couple of ways, but one way is just as part of the path. So 4 weeks ago, kind of URL encoded ish. So we run that. It's going to clone, show us the output. So we turn this into an HTTP API pretty quickly, and so now we can start using this from apps or internal tools that might want to display this or something like that. Although most of the time you want structured data, and so you might think, well, this isn't quite structured enough. It's actually not that hard to write a bash script that gives you structured data, in this case JSON. And so here I'm using some kind of nasty Perl and formatting string for this JSON version of the command, which I'll run here. Recent JSON, I think I already set it up, so let's look 6 weeks ago. So a command like this can output JSON. We expose it as a web service. Now you can use it as if it were a web service. And the fact that it's written in Bash is kind of irrelevant. I mean, it's nice that you can make web services out of Bash commands. It's kind of one of the unique things about Command IO. But you can just as easily write something in Python or Ruby, and it also works on Command IO. So lastly, I want to show you this using these commands from the browser, because we can actually use WebSocket. We can upgrade that endpoint to WebSocket and then allowing us to access and run commands from the browser. So to demo that, this is a page that has a web-based terminal implementation. So I'm using this xterm.js. This is the source for the page. It sets up the terminal and writes hello world. So we're just going to replace this with something that will use WebSockets and connect to command.io and run the command. So pretty straightforward, new WebSocket on open, write to the terminal, etc. Our base URL is basically the same endpoint, but with secure WebSocket. And the token, we need our token. Here we go. And then the arguments for this are going to be defined in our in the URL under the after the hash. So here we'll do 4 weeks ago, and we get our output. Pretty cool. So now you can run shell scripts from pretty much anywhere, right? With SSH, HTTP, and WebSocket. Command.io is in private alpha. You can request access to the alpha if you poke around a bit. And hope you guys use this to build some cool stuff. All right, thanks for watching.